for the Severe Weather Show as they prepare you for the spring and summer seasons ahead.
Hello, Central New York. This is Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis. I'm joined by my weather team tonight to talk about severe weather. We're going to cover some of the basic ideas behind some of the things that we see throughout the season. Meteorologist Jill Reel will be talking about the differences between watches and warnings, as well as break down the science of hail. Meteorologist Violet Skyber is recapping the Halloween flood, as well as unveiling a new feature that we're going to be showing throughout the season, Storm Tracker 2 alerts. And I will be covering some of the latest on local climate change and some of the newest information that we've just have seen in the past decade. But tonight we're going to get started with Jill Reel, who's talking about the differences between watches and warnings.
Probably two of the most confusing terms for viewers during severe weather is a watch and a warning. According to the Storm Prediction Center, there are over 1,000 severe thunderstorm watches issued every year and thousands of warnings. So now is a perfect time to brush up on the terminology. So what is the difference between a watch and a warning? Well, a watch means to be aware. Severe weather is possible. Now, so watch is issued ahead of a severe weather event just to alert the public that severe weather is possible and to keep an eye on the sky. Now, a severe thunderstorm warning means severe weather is imminent or occurring right then and there. Now is the time to take action, to head indoors and take cover. The Storm Tracker 2 weather team does not issue watches or warnings. That is in the hands of the National Weather Service. For our viewing area, we have 3 National Weather Service offices. National Weather Service out of Buffalo, Binghamton, and Albany. Now let's break it down for you a bit. Buffalo, the National Weather Service in Buffalo covers Lewis County. The National Weather Service in Binghamton covers Oneida, Madison, Shenango, and Otsego counties. And then the National Weather Service in Albany covers Herkimer, Hamilton, Fulton, and Montgomery counties. So sometimes one of those offices will issue a watch or warning while others will not. So it is important to know which county you live in because some counties may have watches or warnings while others do not. It always makes our job interesting. So let's get to that severe thunderstorm warning. What does it make a thunderstorm severe? This is issued when a thunderstorm is producing winds greater than 58 miles per hour. Why 58 miles per hour? That is the threshold for wind damage to occur. And or quarter-sized hail or greater, and or the potential for a tornado. Now, people think thunderstorms and lightning. Well, lightning and the frequency of lightning is not a criteria for a thunderstorm to be severe, even though it is dangerous. If a warning is issued, head indoors and stay away from windows. Now let's talk about tornadoes. A tornado watch means conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form, but are not currently forming. Just to give you a heads up. A tornado warning means to take action. Or tornado has been spotted or has been indicated on radar. Now here's a more simple graphic to know the difference from a tornado watch and a tornado warning. This is perfect, of course, from The Wizard of Oz and The Wicked Witch of the West. Now, if a tornado warning has been issued, head to the basement, keep your head down, and avoid windows. Now, some people don't have basements. What do? You want to head to the lowest floor to a center room, most likely a bathroom. You want a room with little to no windows, and to make sure you cover yourself up with a soft blanket or something soft, like a pillow, to protect yourself from debris. Again, tornadoes are rare in our area, but make sure to take any severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning seriously. And as we always say, when thunder roars, head indoors.
Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Violet Skyber. Hopefully you're enjoying this severe weather show, and this is a look at our new virtual reality set in alert mode, which you can see Storm Tracker 2 alert on the wall here with the red background. We're going to be talking about what alert mode is in one of the coming up segments. But what we're focusing on here is flash flooding and recapping the events of the Halloween flood in 2019, but also getting you prepared for flash flooding. So let's talk about what flash flooding is and what the main threats of it are. Even if you're just driving and you see a body of water on the road, moving water, it can pull your car away off the road with just a foot or 2 feet of water. So definitely turn around, don't drown, because it can really sweep your car off the road. So definitely be careful, and we will update you before flood conditions even occur, so you shouldn't be out on the roads in those types of conditions. Now let's talk about the Halloween floods in 2019 and what happened there. So we had some severe flooding that forced people out of their homes. Cars were swept off the roads. And we even had some sinkholes as well. Most areas near 3 inches of rain, power outages across the state. 172,000 people estimated had power outages. And again, here's a look at the rainfall totals. About 5 inches up north in Hamilton County, and still about 2 inches in the Mohawk Valley, places like Utica. So we got quite a bit of rain. Now, if we do have a flood risk, this is what we'll show you. If it's happening, likely, possible, or unlikely. We'll tell you when, where, and the impact, how much rainfall we can expect from a system. So stay updated when we are expecting a heavy rainfall. We'll also pass along any new warnings. As you can see, it says flash flood warning. We will show you if one is present. This is just an example of what you can see when something like this occurs. And again, you want to stay updated, download our app. It's available on any mobile phone, and we will keep you updated with any severe weather alerts. Now let's take a look at your trivia question. So this is a pretty interesting one. What is the most common type of lightning? Is it A, cloud and cloud, B, cloud to ground, or C, cloud to cloud? I'll have the answer coming up.
Your vehicle.
Welcome back to the show. Let's take a look at tonight's trivia question answer. What is the most common type of lightning? The answer is cloud to cloud. Tonight we're breaking down wind damage with thunderstorms. We get this question a lot when we do get thunderstorms that produce wind damage. Was it a tornado? And the answer often is no. When we're looking at a thunderstorm, winds can be produced in very different ways. And what's a very common type of occurrence locally is called a microburst. A microburst happens when we have dry air that gets intruded into the middle of a thunderstorm. So a thunderstorm is carried and caused by rapidly rising air. We call that the updraft in a thunderstorm. And when there's dry air that surrounds that updraft, it causes evaporational cooling. That just means the rain cools very quickly as it evaporates down towards the ground. When the dry air is in place, the rain is going to cool off so quickly that it plunges to the ground and creates violent wind in a very localized area. This is called a microburst. Winds with a microburst could gust as high as 100 miles an hour or even higher in some cases. And the wind damage with a microburst can be just as deadly and just as dangerous as it would be with a tornado. The National Weather Service sends teams of storm surveyors after the fact to look at the wind damage to determine whether or not it was a microburst or a tornado. And the bottom line is it all depends on how the damage looks. If the trees that are falling over or the shingles that are being blown away are all being moved in one direction, chances are it's a microburst. But if there's any debris that's scattered in a rotational pattern, that often indicates that it was caused by a tornado. The bottom line is these are both just as dangerous as each other, but again, microbursts forming from dry air in the middle of the atmosphere. For some of the science behind hail, let's head over to meteorologist Jill Reel.
Imagine a piece of ice the size of a golf ball, or even a piece of fruit like an orange, falling from the sky and hitting your house, or even hitting your car. While hail does cause injury, it also causes about $1 billion in damage each year in the United States. In fact, since 1993, there have been approximately $3.2 million in property damage and $60 million in crop damage in New York State from hailstorms. So how do hailstorms form? Well, first of all, you need a thunderstorm. Now, with that thunderstorm, there are frozen water droplets that are pushed up into the clouds by updrafts, or an upward current of air. Now, once these droplets reach the freezing level, ice forms. Now, once that ice forms, it forms into a ball of ice that continues to get tossed around in the thunderstorm. Now, the more layers of ice attached to the core of that ice, it becomes heavy. Eventually, the weight of the hail is too much and it falls to the ground. So why are hailstones different sizes? Well, it has to depend on the severity of the storm. The stronger the storm, the stronger the updrafts, The stronger the updrafts, the longer the hailstone will stay in the air, adding to those layers of ice. Now, hail can range from pea size all the way up to a grapefruit. In severe thunderstorms, hail is around 1 inch, so quarter size or higher for a severe thunderstorm. But the record for largest hail comes at 8 inches and 1.9 pounds. This happened in 2010 in South Dakota. Now, if you are caught in a hailstorm, make sure you head inside if possible. If you are stuck in the car, stay away from the windows and lie down and cover your face. Many people confuse hail with sleet and graupel. Yes, graupel is a weather term. Let's talk about sleet first. Sleet only occurs in the winter when snowflakes up in the atmosphere only partially melt when they fall through a warm layer of air. These droplets then refreeze once they hit the next layer of cold, falling as frozen rain droplets at the surface. Now you know it's sleeting outside by hearing the precipitation hit the windows and kind of pinging off of windshields. You'll see those tiny little pellets of ice, or ice pellets, also known as sleet. Again, sleet are ice pellets. Graupel is something completely different. These are supercooled water droplets that cling onto snowflakes. It sounds a bit complicated. We start once again with snow way up in the atmosphere. That snow falls through a layer of supercooled droplets. Now, supercooled droplets are water droplets with a temperature below 32 degrees. These droplets freeze onto snowflakes like Velcro and form tiny white pellets that look like hail. So again, it starts off as snow, has some droplets that attach to that snow, and those droplets freeze once again and then head it down towards the ground, and that will fall as graupel. They look like white pellets, but they are not hail because remember, hail forms in thunderstorms. Graupel is small and they are soft and crushable. You can't really crush hail. Now that we got through all these weather and ice terms, we're going to get to your trivia question. Which state ranks #1 in hail damage claims? Florida, Texas, or Colorado? We'll have the answer for you after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm meteorologist Violet Skyber. Welcome to the Severe Weather Show, and we have something new this year to pass along to you that we're going to start this year and continue for future years. It's called alert mode, and what that means is when it's issued, something serious is going to happen, some type of severe weather that can cause damage to life or property. So let's talk about what alert mode is. I'm going to explain what it is, when we will be issuing it, and also why it's so important to get across to you as the viewers. It's mainly during those events that are going to be quite damaging. So let's explain first what alert mode is. We will be issuing it for dangerous weather. So not every single warning or watch, but we will be issuing it for storms or winter events that again could cause the most damage. We will change the background of the screen to red, as you can see behind me on the left and right. Normally we have a brick, but we are seeing red. On our virtual set, same thing. We're going to have a red background. And once you see that, you know that today we're going to see some hazardous conditions, especially dangerous. And on the 7-day, we're also going to be highlighting that day specifically in red. So you know that that dangerous weather will be on that exact day, and you can prepare for it ahead of time. And again, the reason why we're adding alert mode is to bring emphasis to these severe weather threats because they are so important to get across, especially ahead of time. So what we are going to be using the alert mode for: severe weather, again, watches, warnings, and even the potential for dangerous weather. So if we're watching a weather system that we think could produce some pretty damaging conditions, we're going to issue an alert mode for that. Now, what I mean is, what it includes, the SPC issues risks for severe thunderstorms. We're not going to issue an alert day for every single severe thunderstorm. It will just be for an enhanced risk. So that means a pretty high chance that we're likely going to get some severe thunderstorms. Now for tornadoes, if we have a tornado watch, we'll issue alert mode, or if the SPC has a likely chance for some tornadoes, a high risk, then we will use it as well. If conditions look favorable for us in our forecast, again, we're going to issue that alert mode for you. Again, also other watches and warnings: flash flood, blizzard, ice storm, high wind, and winter storm warnings. Only the most extreme, just because we do get a lot of those in the winter. So we're going to just use alert mode for the ones where we'll get some very heavy snowfall. So now I want to show you an example. What I was just talking about with the SPC, enhanced, slight risk, let's explain what all of that means. So this is the convective outlook. This map basically shows where it's most likely that we're going to see some severe weather. Now, marginal is this green shading. That's where we could see some isolated severe thunderstorms. The yellow is slight. That's going to be scattered severe thunderstorms. Now, enhanced is what we would issue an alert day for, and that's going to be more scattered to numerous, maybe even widespread, going towards the high chance. And that's when we could see some pretty damaging conditions like damaging winds, hail, or even flooding. And this is day 2 as just another example. You can see that enhanced zone on there. So why is alert mode so important? For safety, to keep the community safe, prevent any injuries or loss of life. We're just trying to update you on the risk of damage before it even happens. In the damage risk, we will also tell you about potential hazards, what damage could occur, and areas to stay away from, especially flood-prone zones, or maybe where the strongest winds of a storm could be. And also, we're going to help you prepare, knowing the threat ahead of time and getting prepared for that event. As again, we're going to highlight that event on the 7-day. And if you do want to become a sky watcher and report those severe weather conditions, definitely welcome. If you want to become one, you need to get the right equipment, though. An outdoor thermometer, you could get a rain gauge as well. But you'll want to report your conditions just before shows or if we are live covering a severe thunderstorm or tornado warning. And you can email any of your updates to weather@wktv.com or our Facebook page, WKTV Weather. And also download our app as well. It's available in any of the app stores. You can get our forecasts, alerts, maps, and videos. And I also do want to tell you, turn on the alerts and you will get updates for any type of potential severe weather. Now let's look at your trivia question. So, what state ranks #1 in hail damage claims? Is it A, Florida, B, Texas, or C, Colorado? I'll give you a minute to think about the answer first. So, it's B, Texas. So in 2019, Texas had over 190,000 claims due to hail damage, and it's followed up by Colorado and Nebraska. And stay tuned, we'll have the next segment coming up.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. We wanted to finish tonight by talking about local trends in climate. We just finished a large project updating the climate stats from the previous decade. We do this every 10 years, and we have some brand new numbers to share with you tonight in terms of temperature, snowfall, and rainfall, and how these are changing at the local level. We'll start with the temperature. The overall average temperature throughout the year has been going up in the past decade by a small fraction, about 0.2 of a degree. The numbers themselves are not important. I want to point out the trends here. The largest change is in the season of winter as well as fall, and we saw just a slightly warmer trend in summer. And spring, on the other hand, was actually cooler than normal over the past decade. This goes in line with something we've heard a lot of folks mention over the past several years, is that the seasons take longer to get here. And there's some evidence to that when we look at these numbers here, with a cooler spring, summers slightly warmer than average, but fall taking longer to get here as it's warmer than average, and same thing with winter. So there is something to be said for that. It's difficult to explain why that would be the case. We think it may have something to do with snow lasting longer into the spring, as we do get more of it in February and March. In fact, let's take a look at the snowfall trends. With a warmer winter, we see less snowfall in the fringes of the season. We've been seeing this in the past several decades. Less snowfall in October and in April. No reported snowfall, consistent snowfall for the city of Utica in the month of May. But the thing that also stands out is February. There's been a noticeable increase in snowfall in that particular month. We think this has to do with lake effect snow, and with a warmer winter, the lakes are warmer going into the month of February, and so you get more lake effect snow in February. In March, we think this has to do with some of the larger snowfalls. We think that 1 inch above, that 1 inch trend is coming from some of the large storms that we've had in that particular month. The overall snowfall goes up, so even though we have a warmer winter, we end up getting more snowfall The previous average was 95.6 inches. The new average, 98.8 inches. So that's an increase in just over 2 inches of snowfall. Rainfall totals, this was a head scratcher for us. This was what we were not expecting this. The numbers actually went down by about an inch and a half of rainfall throughout the year. The new average is just under 44 inches. And again, with some of the large flooding events, that was a surprise on our end. Especially with, again, some of the most recent flooding events that we can remember off the top of our heads, especially things like the Halloween event. Now, this graph that I want to leave you with tonight kind of summarizes where we're going in terms of how the climate is warming up. Our weather records go back to the 1880s, so we have 140 years of data here, and the warmest years on record are relatively recent. In fact, the past decade, 2 of the 5 end up showing up on the list, 2012 and 2020. And again, a lot of these are pretty recent too, 1998, 1999. The oldest here is 1973. So again, when you look at the records here, a lot of them have been in recent decades in terms of the warmest years on record for the city of Utica. We encourage you to continue to stay up to date throughout the severe weather season with our weather team. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. You can also follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and also download our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. We'll continue to keep you updated on the latest conditions throughout the summer season. Thanks for joining us.